Blood is thicker than water. But in the world Christy Reglia fled, it's cheaper than ink on a forged death certificate. 6 months of peace in New Zealand. 6 months of pretending vanilla cake and lullabies could erase what she'd survived. 6 months of lying to herself that her mother, the matriarch, had simply vanished into smoke after the siege. Then the photo arrived. Her father, alive, holding her baby. Timestamped 20 minutes ago. The message on the back, written in her mother's elegant script. Did you really think New Zealand was far enough? Happy 6 months, darling. Let's talk about custody. Before Christy could scream, bullets shattered the illusion. Ian Lang's guards fell like dominoes. But the worst violation wasn't the attack. It was the tracker they found embedded in baby Mia's skin, transmitting her location to 3 hunting parties. The matriarch's legacy project, a Kong nephew seeking blood debt, and Ian Lang's betrayed lieutenant, who discovered the child is a walking vault to $2 billion. And Maya's final gift, a corrupted video sewn into a blanket, holds one devastating truth: the baby isn't Ian Lang's. The game was never survival. It was always about who owns the bloodline. And there you have it. Part 2 of a forbidden romance that just became a global hunt. Big shout out to DL who wanted a part 2, so if you're obsessed with anti-heroes protecting what they love, women who refuse to stay broken, and stories where betrayal cuts deeper than bullets, you're exactly where you need to be. This is the saga where DNA reveals lie, chosen family battles blood ties, and every safe haven is a countdown to the next ambush. Hit that subscribe button because we're diving deeper into this world, cloning conspiracies, paternity twists that rewrite everything, and a mother willing to burn down empires to save children that may not even be hers. Smash that like button and drop a comment. Where are you right now? And what's your situation? Are you at work sneaking this during your break, lying in bed when you should be sleeping, escaping reality on your commute, or maybe folding laundry while your mind's in soul? Where in the world are my story addicts tuning in from? I want to know who's riding this emotional roller coaster with me. Drop your location, and let's build this community of people who crave stories that don't play safe. The cake was vanilla, store-bought, because Christy didn't trust herself with ovens anymore. 6 months in Rotorua, and she still flinched at every car door slam. Ian Lang watched her light the single candle, his hand resting on the Glock under his sweater. The baby, Mia, they called her now, not the Korean name his family would have demanded, gurgled in her high chair, oblivious to the 2 guards stationed outside the rented cottage. The doorbell rang. No one knew they were here. No one should know. Ian Lang moved first, gun drawn, pushing Christy behind him. Through the peephole, a DHL courier, already walking back to his van. On the porch, a small brown box. No return address. Inside the box, no bomb. Just a photograph. Christy's father, dead 15 years in a Chicago car crash, sat in a leather armchair, holding Mia. Same birthmark on her ankle. Same yellow onesie from this morning. The timestamp, 11:47 a.m. 20 minutes ago. The photo slipped from Christy's hands. Ian Lang was already shouting into his phone, but Christy couldn't hear him over the sound of her own heartbeat. Her father's face, older, grayer, but alive, stared back with an expression she'd never seen on him. Pity. The back of the photo had a single line in her mother's handwriting. Did you really think New Zealand was far enough? Happy 6 months, darling. Let's talk about custody. The first guard's body hit the porch before the gunshot registered. Ian Lang shoved Christy toward the nursery, firing blind through the front door. She grabbed Mia, ran to the reinforced panic room they'd installed in the closet, and slammed the steel door shut. Through the monitor, she watched Ian Lang take down 3 attackers in the hallway. Professional, silent. Then the second guard's headless corpse fell past the kitchen window. The monitor went black. In the darkness, Mia started to cry. Christy held her close, singing the lullaby her father used to sing, and realized with cold clarity, they'd never checked her for a tracker. Not after the hospital raid. Not after the birth. They'd been so focused on external threats, they'd never considered the matriarch had already tagged her prize. The panic room door had 12 hours of air. She prayed Ian Lang would open it in 11. The door opened in 4. Ian Lang looked like he'd aged a year. Blood on his collar, not his. Everyone's dead. We have maybe an hour before the second wave. He didn't ask if she was okay. There wasn't time for okay anymore. They drove in silence to a shuttered veterinary clinic in Auckland, where a man Ian Lang called Doc waited with a metal table and no questions. Doc was 70, hands steady, eyes dead. On the table, baby first. Christy's stomach dropped. What? Standard protocol for kidnapping targets. Doc said, prepping a syringe. RFID chip, subcutaneous, probably implanted during a medical procedure. Hospital, vaccine clinic, even a diaper change if someone got close enough. I need to scan her. The wand beeped at Mia's right shoulder blade. Doc's face darkened. Military grade. Satellite uplink. Whoever's tracking her knows her exact coordinates down to the meter. I can remove it, but the moment it stops transmitting, they'll know you found it. How long until they get here? Ian Lang asked. If they're competent, 48 hours. Enough time to scramble a team from anywhere in Asia Pacific. Ian Lang looked at Christy. She nodded. Doc worked fast. The incision was tiny. Mia barely whimpered under the local anesthetic. And within minutes, a chip the size of a rice grain sat in a metal dish. Ian Lang crushed it under his boot. You're next, Doc said to Christy. I wasn't in that hospital long enough. You were unconscious for 6 hours post-delivery. Check her. The wand beeped at the base of her skull. Christy felt the world tilt. Doc extracted the second chip, but this time, something else fell out. A micro SD card, sewn into the lining of Mia's baby blanket. The one Maya had wrapped her in before she died. Ian Lang held it up to the light. Your sister was more careful than we thought. Doc slid it into a laptop. A video file. Maya's face filled the screen, hollow-eyed, recording from what looked like a hotel bathroom. Christy, if you're watching this, I'm dead. And I need you to know, I didn't betray you. I tried to save you. The baby isn't Ian Lang's. She's. The video corrupted. The rest was encrypted. Doc checked his watch. 47 hours now. I'd start driving. The encryption took 18 hours to crack. Ian Lang paid a hacker in Singapore $50,000 in Bitcoin to do it while they drove north, switching cars twice, burning phones at every gas station. Christy held Mia in the back seat, watching the baby sleep, wondering whose eyes she'd inherited. The full video arrived as they crossed into Queensland, Australia. Christy made Ian Lang pull over at a rest stop before she hit play. Maya's face filled the screen. Thinner than Christy remembered, eyes rimmed red. The timestamp read 3 days before her death. Christy, if you're watching this, I'm dead. And I need you to know, I didn't betray you. I tried to save you. She paused, wiping tears with shaking hands. The baby isn't Ian Lang's. She's Dae-Young's. Kang Dae-Young. We were together for 2 years before Mother found out. She killed our first baby, forced me to abort at 7 months. Said the Kang bloodline was contaminated. So we tried again, but I couldn't carry another pregnancy. My body was ruined. Maya's voice cracked. So we used you. I'm sorry. I drugged you. I brought him to that hotel, and I made sure you'd get pregnant with his child. Mother wanted an Ian heir to infiltrate their empire. I let her think that's what happened. But the baby was always ours. Dae-young's and mine. I was going to get you out before she realized, but a door slammed off camera. Maya's face went pale. She knows. Christy, she's been building something called the Legacy Project. She's not just cloning our bloodline, she's weaponizing it. There are 5 locations with evidence. Coordinates embedded in this file. You have to reach them before she does. Burn it all down. And tell Dae-young, tell him his daughter has his mother's smile. The video cut to black. A file tree appeared. DNA records, financial transfers, facility blueprints. And 5 GPS coordinates across 3 continents. Christy looked at Ian Lang. He was staring at the dashboard, jaw tight. You knew, she whispered. I suspected after the hospital blood test. I didn't want to believe it. He turned to her. Does it change anything? Christy looked at Mia. Everything. And nothing. Ian Lang started the engine. First location is Tokyo. We leave tonight. Why are you still here? He didn't answer immediately. Then, because she's your daughter. That's enough. Tokyo's Shibuya district smelled like rain and takoyaki. The safety deposit box was in a private bank beneath a pachinko parlor, the kind of place where questions died with eye contact. Ian Lang paid the attendant in cash. Christy kept Mia strapped to her chest, hidden under a coat. Box 447 contained a USB drive, a burner phone, and a Glock with filed serial numbers. The phone rang the moment they touched it. Christy answered. A man's voice, low and familiar from nowhere. You look good holding my daughter. She froze. Across the bank's marble floor, near the elevator, a man in a black suit lowered his phone. Korean features. Kong family jawline. Eyes like Mia's. Dae-young smiled. We need to talk. Ian Lang's hand moved toward his gun. Dae-young raised his palms. I'm not here to fight. I'm here because Maya's coordinates led me here too. She left us both breadcrumbs. You're supposed to want revenge, Ian Lang said. I did. Until I realized revenge won't get me what I actually want. Dae-young's eyes never left Mia. A DNA test, legal paternity, and custody. Christy stepped back. She's not a bargaining chip. No, she's my daughter. And your mother is hunting her to turn her into a sleeper agent. Maya died trying to protect her from that. He pulled a folder from his jacket. I have resources. Legal teams in 12 countries. Safe houses your mother doesn't know about. We can fight her together or separately and watch her win. Ian Lang's gun was halfway out. Or I kill you here. Then you'll never know which of your men already sold you out to Victor. Dae-young's smile vanished. Your lieutenant put a bounty on the child. $1 million for her delivered alive. Did you think you were the only one Maya warned? Christy felt the world tilt again. How many are coming? Everyone. Outside, tires screeched. Gunfire erupted in the pachinko parlor above. Ian Lang grabbed Christy. Dae-young moved toward them. Not away. East exit, he shouted. Now, we fight about paternity later. The 3 of them ran, Mia crying against Christy's chest, as the bank filled with smoke and screaming. Behind them, Victor's men poured down the stairs. The DNA test took 3 days. 3 days holed up in Dae-young's Osaka safe house. A minimalist penthouse that smelled like expensive whiskey and old regrets. 3 days of Ian Lang sleeping with his gun, Dae-young hovering near Mia's makeshift crib, and Christy caught between the 2 men like a human DMZ. The results arrived via encrypted email. The doctor Dae-young paid, wouldn't even speak the words aloud, just sent a PDF with highlighted percentages. Probability of paternity, 99.97%. Christy watched Ian Lang, read it twice. His face didn't change, but his hand trembled as he set down his phone. For 6 months, he'd killed for this child, bled for her, abandoned his empire, burned bridges with his family, lived in exile, all for a daughter that wasn't his. "I need air," he said quietly, and walked onto the balcony. Dae-young stood. "I'll start the paperwork. Legal custody transfers take time, but with my family's lawyers." "She's not a transaction," Christy snapped. "She's my daughter." His voice broke on the word. "Do you know what it's like watching another man hold your child for 6 months? Maya died, protecting her. I won't let that be for nothing." Christy looked at Mia, asleep in her carrier. She had Dae-young's nose, Maya's cheekbones. Nothing of Ian Lang, except the 6 months of life he'd given her. On the balcony, Ian Lang made a phone call. She couldn't hear the words, but she knew the tone. The same one he'd used when he dissolved his father's empire. Final. Irrevocable. He came back inside 30 minutes later, eyes dry, shoulders squared. "I've transferred everything. Offshore accounts, properties, the $2 billion from Maya's microchip codes. All in Mia's name. Accessible when she's 18. Legal trust, ironclad, untouchable by either of you." He looked at Christy, not Dae-young. "You'll need it. Your mother won't stop. Victor won't stop. And I can't protect a child that isn't mine without becoming the monster my father was. Lang. I'll draw Victor away. Let him north. Give you time to reach the next location." He picked up his go bag. "Dae-young, if anything happens to them, I'll kill you slowly. That's not a threat. That's a schedule." The door closed behind him. Christy ran to the window, watched him disappear into Osaka's neon sprawl. Dae-young put a hand on her shoulder. "We leave for Dubai in an hour," he said. "The second location." She didn't move. Couldn't. Because leaving meant accepting this was real. Mia started crying. Christy picked her up and followed a stranger who happened to be her father. Dubai smelled like oil money and desperation. The second location was a climate-controlled storage unit in Jebel Ali, registered under a shell company Maya had created 2 years ago. Inside, server backups, medical records, and a map marked with 6 red dots across Southeast Asia. Dae-young opened the first file. His face went gray. "What?" Christy asked. He turned the laptop toward her. "A medical dossier. Project Dynasty. Batch 07. Her face stared back from a dozen ID photos, but the names were different. The birth dates were different. The locations, Seoul, Bangkok, Manila, Kuala Lumpur, Singapore, Jakarta, were all different. Clones, Dae-young whispered. Not clones. Children. 7 infants, all genetically identical to Christy. All born within 3 months of Mia. The matriarch hadn't just wanted one heir. She'd wanted an army. The next file was worse. Psychological conditioning schedules. Combat training protocols. A curriculum designed to turn toddlers into emotionless operatives by age 5. And at the bottom, a manifesto in her mother's handwriting. Blood is loyalty. DNA is destiny. These children will infiltrate, inherit, and eliminate the old orders. They will be invisible, untraceable, perfect. Christy's hands shook. Where are they? According to this, a primary facility in Switzerland. Zermatt, subterranean, disguised as a private medical research center. Dae-young scrolled further. But there's a problem. To access it, you need biometric clearance, retinal scan, fingerprint, and a living genetic sample. Meaning they need you, or one of the children. He looked at Mia. That's why your mother hasn't just killed you. You're the access key. Christy felt bow rising. We destroy it. All of it. We can't. Dae-young pulled up schematics. The facility's failsafe is rigged to eliminate the children if breached incorrectly. We'd need someone inside. A new voice spoke from the doorway. Or someone they'd never suspect. Christy spun. Victor stood there, gun lowered, hands raised. Behind him, two of his men lay dead in the hallway. I'm not here to collect the bounty, Victor said. I'm here because Lang just called me, told me about the clones, and offered me something better than $1 million. What? Dae-young asked. Victor smiled. Revenge on the woman who killed my brother. Your mother trained him, used him, and disposed of him when he questioned the Legacy Project. So here's my offer. I help you infiltrate Switzerland. We save those kids, and I get to watch the matriarch burn. Christy didn't trust him, but she didn't have options. Deal, she said. But betray us, and Lang's ghost won't be your problem. I will. Victor nodded. Fair. We fly to Zurich tomorrow. Pack light. The matriarch knows we're coming. The facility didn't look like a nightmare. It looked like a 5-star resort. Nestled in the Swiss Alps, the Zermatt Genetics Institute gleamed white against the snow, all glass and modern architecture. Children's laughter echoed from somewhere inside. A woman in scrubs watered flowers in the courtyard. If Christy hadn't seen the schematics, she'd have thought it was a pediatric hospital. Victor's intel got them past the first 2 checkpoints. Fake credentials listing Christy as a genetic consultant and Dae-young as her assistant. Mia stayed hidden in a cabin 10 kilometers away with 2 of Victor's men. Insurance, he'd called it. Christy hated leaving her, but walking into the matriarch's fortress with the prize felt like suicide. The retinal scanner beeped green. Christy's DNA opened doors her mother had designed for her. The elevator descended 6 floors. The temperature dropped. The laughter stopped. Sublevel 3 was clinical. White walls, humming fluorescents, reinforced glass nurseries. And inside those nurseries, 7 cribs. 6 occupied. Christy's breath caught. Identical faces. Her face. Babies aged 6 to 8 months, all awake, all silent. No crying. No babbling. Just wide, watchful eyes tracking movement with unnatural focus. Jesus Christ, Dae-young whispered. A door hissed open behind them. Christy spun, raising Victor's spare gun. Her mother stood there in Chanel and pearls, looking exactly as Christy remembered from childhood. Elegant, composed, utterly devoid of warmth. Darling, the matriarch said, you're early. I wasn't expecting you until after Zurich's evening patrol cycle. She smiled. But then, you always were impulsive. Like your father. Where is he? Christy demanded. Basement level. Would you like to see him? Or shall we discuss why you brought the Kong boy into my home? Dae-young stepped forward. These children are mine. The matriarch's voice cut like a scalpel. Created from my daughter's genetic material, gestated in carefully selected surrogates, raised under optimal conditions. No trauma. No attachment disorders. No messy emotional bonds that make people weak. She walked to the nearest crib, running a finger along the glass. The baby inside didn't react. Your sister understood too late. She thought love made you strong. But love is what got her killed. The matriarch turned. I'm offering you the same choice I offered Maya. Join me. Help me raise this generation. Or watch as I take the last thing you love. Mia, Christy breathed. Victor's men were very cooperative once I explained their families' locations. The matriarch held up a tablet. Live feed. Mia, screaming in a car, surrounded by armed operatives. She's en route here, now. You have 10 minutes to decide, Christy. Dynasty or daughter. You can't save both. Behind them, the elevator doors sealed shut. Red emergency lights flashed. Dae-young grabbed Christy's arm. This was a trap. The matriarch's smile widened. It was always a trap, Mr. Calm. Did you think I wouldn't know my own daughter was coming? I've been watching you since Tokyo, feeding you coordinates, leading you exactly where I needed you. She pressed a button on the tablet. Gas hissed from ceiling vents. Welcome home, Christy. Let's talk about your future. The world tilted. Christy fired, but the shot went wild. Dae-young collapsed beside her. The last thing she saw before the darkness took her was her mother's face, unchanged, unmoved. And behind her, 7 cribs of silent, watching children. Christy woke to the sound of her father's voice. Subcutaneous tracker, left ribcage. They'll activate at the moment she leaves the complex. Her vision swam. Concrete walls. Surgical lights. Her father, older, grayer, but unmistakably alive, stood over a metal table, talking to someone off camera. Not the matriarch. Someone else. Dad. Her voice cracked. He turned, and for the first time in 15 years, Paul Reglia looked at his daughter with something like pride. Stay still. We don't have much time. You're alive. You worked for her. All this time. Not for her. Against her. He lifted her shirt, pressed something cold against her ribs. A scalpel. I've been sabotaging the legacy project for 3 years. Your mother thinks I'm her head of security. Really, I'm the reason half her facilities have mysteriously burned down. Pain flared as he cut. Christy bit down on a leather strap. Maya figured it out 6 months before she died. He continued, extracting a chip. We worked together. All those coordinates. I planted them. The encryption delays. Me. I've been buying you time. Where's Dae-young? Where's Mia? Dae-young's in the next cell, playing his part. Paul dropped the tracker into a metal dish. And Mia's not here. That video feed was from 4 hours ago. Looped. Your mother doesn't have her. Not yet. Christy sat up, head spinning. Then where? Ian Lang has her. The world stopped. Victor never betrayed you. He called Lang the moment we landed in Zurich. Lang took Mia from the cabin before the matriarch's team arrived. He's been buying time, drawing her forces north while I got you out. Paul handed her a gun. But the matriarch just realized the feed was fake. She's scrambling teams to Innsbruck. That's where Lang is. We have maybe 30 minutes before she locks down the entire facility and initiates protocol clean sweep. What's protocol clean sweep? Paul's face darkened. Elimination of all genetic samples, including the 7 children upstairs. She'd rather destroy the project than let it be compromised. Christy stood, legs shaking. Then we take them. There's no time. The exit route I planned gets you out. Maybe Dae-young. Not 7 infants. Then we make time. Paul stared at his daughter. Saw something in her eyes that hadn't been there 6 months ago. He nodded slowly. Sublevel 3. I'll handle the guards. You get the children to the service elevator. It goes to an underground garage. Dae-young's meeting us there with a vehicle. He checked his watch. Go. Now. They moved through corridors like ghosts. Paul killed efficiently, silently, no hesitation, no mercy. Christy realized with cold clarity. Her father had been doing this for years. Sublevel 3 was chaos. Alarms blaring. Staff evacuating. And in the nursery, 7 cribs, 6 babies screaming as red lights flashed. Christy grabbed the first child. Then the second. Her father appeared with a rolling cart meant for medical equipment. Strap them in. We're improvising. For babies in the cart. 2 in Christy's arms. Paul carried the 7th. The elevator doors opened. Dae-young was there, bloodied but alive, behind the wheel of a medical transport van. Where's the 8th crib? He shouted. Christy froze. There were only 7 in the dossier. Explosions rocked the building. Paul shoved her into the van. No time. Drive. As they screamed out of the garage, Christy looked back. The facility was collapsing, floors pancaking inward. And on the highest balcony, her mother stood watching, phone to her ear, smiling. The van didn't make it 10 kilometers before the engine seized. Dae-young slammed the wheel, cursing in Korean. Through the rear window, Christy saw headlights, a convoy, moving fast. Out. Now. Paul was already kicking open the back doors, grabbing 2 babies. There's a bunker. 300 meters northeast. Maya built it as a final failsafe. They ran through snow that felt like broken glass, for adults carrying 7 screaming infants through alpine wilderness at midnight. Christy's lungs burned. One of the babies, the smallest, maybe 6 months, had gone silent. Not sleeping. Silent. The bunker was a concrete mouth buried in the mountainside, sealed with a biometric lock. Paul's handprint opened it. Inside, weapons, supplies, and a wall of monitors showing tactical feeds. One screen showed Ian Lang. He was pinned down in an Innsbruck safe house, Mia strapped to his chest in a carrier, returning fire against a 12-man team. The audio crackled. Not leaving her, Victor. You get Christy out. I'll handle. The feed cut to static. No. Christy moved toward the door. Dae-young blocked her. He's buying us time. Don't waste it. She's my daughter. And these are 6 other children who'll die if we don't. The bunker door exploded inward. The matriarch walked through smoke and twisted metal like she was entering a boardroom. Behind her, Dae-young's supposedly dead fiancé, alive, armed, and smiling. Hello, my love, she said to Dae-young. Did you miss me? Christy's world fractured. Dae-young's face went white. Soo-yun, you were in Malaysia. The plane crash was staged by your future mother-in-law. Soo-yun gestured to the matriarch. Did you think she'd let the Kong bloodline disappear? I've been inside your organization for 4 years. Every safe house location. Every contact. Every move you've made since Tokyo. She looked at the babies. Thank you for gathering them. Saves us the trouble. Paul raised his gun. The matriarch was faster. 2 shots. Paul went down, blood spreading across his chest. Dad! Christy screamed. He coughed red. The kill codes. Maya's USB, sublevel archive. The matriarch stepped over him. The codes I've had deleted for 6 months. The archives I've already purged. She pulled out a tablet. But I appreciate the gesture, Paul. You've been a useful idiot. She turned to Christy. Here's your choice, darling. Activate the facility's self-destruct. Yes, there's a backup protocol here in this bunker, and you'll kill every genetic record, every backup sample, every piece of the legacy project, including the DNA maps we've stored in refrigerated archives. You can end it. She held up her phone. Live feed. Ian Lang, unconscious, Mia crying beside him in a locked room. Or you can save them. I'll release coordinates. You can have your happy ending with the man who isn't even her father, and the child who was never really yours. The matriarch's smile was scalpel thin. But you can't save both. Destroy the project, and that room's oxygen cycles off automatically. A failsafe. Very tragic. Paul grabbed Christy's ankle with bloody fingers. Burn it all. The tablet beeped. A 10-minute countdown appeared. The matriarch had already activated something. Choose Christy. Dynasty or daughter. Clock's ticking. Christy looked at her father dying on the floor. At Dae-young, realizing the woman he loved had destroyed him. At 6 babies who'd never asked to be weapons. At the screen showing Mia's terrified face. She picked up the tablet. How do I know you'll keep your word? The matriarch laughed. You don't. That's motherhood, darling. Impossible choices and no guarantees. Paul's grip tightened. Don't let her win. Christy looked at him. saw 15 years of secret warfare in his dying eyes. He'd sacrificed everything to sabotage this project. Maya had died trying to end it, and Christy realized saving Mia meant every future child her mother created would suffer the same fate. She typed in the override sequence her father had whispered. The countdown stopped, then reversed. The facility's self-destruct, not the one in Switzerland, but the real one buried beneath a shell company in the Cayman Islands where her mother kept the genetic archives. Engaged. What did you do? The matriarch's face went pale. Paul didn't plant the kill codes in Maya's USB, Christy said quietly. He planted them in the bunker itself, in the system we're using right now. And you just connected your entire network to authenticate the shutdown. Red lights flooded every screen. Archive locations across 6 continents began purging. The matriarch grabbed her phone. Shut it down, shut IT. Dae-young tackled Soo-yun. The bunker erupted in gunfire. Paul used his last strength to pull a detonator from his jacket. He looked at Christy, mouthed "I love you," and pressed it. The bunker's secondary charges blew. Christy grabbed 2 babies, ran for the exit as the ceiling collapsed. Dae-young was behind her, carrying 3 more. Behind them, the matriarch screamed. The explosion swallowed everything. And that's part 2, a mother's war against impossible choices. If you crave stories where love means sacrifice and survival means becoming the monster, subscribe for more. Hit like and comment. Where are you right now? And what's your situation? Work, bed, commute? Let me know where my story addicts are tuning in from.